Probably around 15,000. Those of you that know the Redfern ground would need no reminding that that's really sardine territory. And there was a swinging arm in that tackle from young Funnel. Penalty to Souths. I see David Boyle walking among the South Sydney forwards, telling them to cool it and settle. Don't let that upset you.
Total the shoes on the other foot.
I was just going to say that. I can't quite believe my eyes. Baker stepping off the right, getting off it again. He'll nearly score. He has! Baker! They all thought he was going to kick. 1 minute 45 into the match. Everybody thought that all Neil Baker could do is kick the ball. He shaped to it, and then he just stepped off the right twice. That was the first, that was the second, and then bingo! South Sydney, first point inside the 2-minute marker.
Baker faked the kick here, but he still had a lot of St. George defence in front of him. Stepped off the right foot and was able to thread his way through 1, 2 tackles, and over he goes to score the first South Sydney try.
My goodness, hasn't he carried some weight with the South Sydney side? Every game plan, every tactic that Ron Willey has ever written or spoken about, this man's name, I'm sure, has played an important part. Baker, 15 in. He's missed it. Well, that's not too bad for you, Neil, though. 4 out of 6. South leading the Dragons. What a start.
Wasn't played in the 3rd grade today and came through unscathed, so that'd be good news for all South Sydney, for all St. George supporters.
South's winning it. Coleman, you want to be careful. Yes, I thought so. He's walked off the mark and given the penalty. Referee is McCallum. Greg McCallum. Well, Craig Coleman should know better.
Particularly with this fellow in the opposition. Oh, Steve Gearon.
And is he kicking with accuracy? .78.9. That's a success rate and a half, isn't it, for Steve Gearon? .22 metres out. 5 in from touch. Hits it sweetly. I like it. It's a goal. You just can't give him a kick. Give him a kick and you give them 2 points. South 4, thanks to NEC Big Game. Dummy half Morris out to Stone. Knocked down by Souths. And they've got possession. Played by Ackery. This is Boyle. He had another go, but that was not so much a hit as a tackle. But it was that first swinging arm from Funnel that has brought us to this situation. And this youngster, 18 years of age, he was the one that let one go in the first tackle. It missed by a mile, I might add. So he's had 2 goes, and he's missed both times.
2 goes for 2 penalties, I'd say.
It looks that way. And here goes the penalty to the Rabbits. No change to the scoreline. 4-2 in favour of Souths, and a monster of a kick from Neil Baker. This fella. Tap taken by Fennick to Coleman, to Fennick to Hardy. He's put it down on the first. Oh, gee. That's bad. Guida.
St. George appear to be conscious of the fact that they've got to try to nullify Baker's kicking game, but the other area they've got to work on if they're going to win the match is they've got an advantage out wide in the back line. They've got a lot of pace out there and they're just not using it. They're allowing themselves to be turned back inside by the South Sydney backs, and they've got to overcome that by either using a short chip game or standing deeper themselves. But St. George, they've got to hit their back line.
What a hit that was. On Funnel too. So Beattie takes the kick for touch. And instead of South probably still enjoying their 6 tackles, unfortunately for them, Bill Hardy put it down on the first. Since then, they've given the penalty, and they find themselves having to do the tackling. Guider playing a prominent role, this fellow. I'll tell you now, he was going to be my man of the match on Wednesday night. I was shocked when they brought him off so early. As a result, I think that Perry had caught him up and probably just nosed him. Funnel out wide. Oh, Fennick went for a tackle that was a touch high. Fraser. And this got tackled. 32 metres out. No marker. That's Neville, the centre. Coleman. Hardy. Oh, Stone. He sent him off. Robert Stone's been sent. Well, I don't think it needed this penalty. Certainly wasn't what you would call a stiff arm. It was high. He sent him off. That rather surprises me. What about you, Bill?
Yes, I'm very surprised too. I think it was a tackle that Stone tried to pull out of. He appeared to hit above the shoulder, but there was no malice in it at all.
Carberry.
Well, I can remember a game here, Ray, we did earlier in the year when Manly had a man sent off and they were still able to win the match.
That's right. Good passing by Souths. Ellison draws them. Neville. Now it's Murphy. He's put it down.
Well, that was a...
Now Ackery. Ackery tackled 32 metres out from the St. George line. Fennick. Oh, Baker! Looking for his supports. Looking for his supports. And Murphy. Murphy's passed the ball. Niscott picks it up. And Niscott scores. Ziggy Niscott scores for South Sydney. Baker ran into a huge gap. I thought it may have broken down when Murphy passed the ball, but apparently the ball was backwards. Fennick to Baker. Baker just kept looking for that support on his left. He found Murphy. Murphy's pass. It went behind, and so it was play on, and Niscott had all the time in the world. In fact, St. George were down and out. They'd taken the count.
Fennick started it all when he made good yardage out of dummy half and committed players from the defensive line to come in and make a tackle. Baker carried the play on and found himself running into a gap. We can see the pass here goes to Terry Murphy. He's unable to make it to the try line, but he does release a pass. Ziggy Niscott scoops it up, and I don't think he could believe his luck when he looked up and saw no one in front of him. And over he goes to score the second South Sydney try.
Ziggy Niscott celebrating his 100th game with a try. And from a pretty wide angle, Baker has got it. Baker has kicked the goal. So what a game he's having. Neil Baker, South Sydney 10, St. George 2. And Steve Funnell has been replaced. I wonder is Funnell injured, or whether Masters has thought, I better get him out of this pot of boiling water before it's too late.
No, he...
Well done by Beattie. Johnson in possession. Taken by Hardy. Guerin. Little kick through, and then he was taken late. It's a penalty to St. George. Guerin was taken late. See it. Just a little bit of a hands, knees, and boomsa-daisy. And he's given the penalty against Boyle. That's the 22 line where Guerin has the ball placed. Brian Johnston sitting next to him too. As Guerin gets the goal, and Saints come back to 10 points to 4 now. Second half underway off the boot of Neil Baker, who would be leading, I suppose, in the minds of most people as the man of the match for Souths so far. Jarvis. Is getting across Redfern. Fraser running very strongly. Haddock. 32 metres out from the South Sydney line. Jarvis. Straight ahead runner. Knows no other way. Haddock switching it blind for Graham Wynn. They're on the 22 line, south end of the ground. Haddock, Morris. Morris throws the dummy, goes himself. Stevie Morris, he'll score. Oh, a brilliant try. Brilliant solo performance. Slippery Steve Morris. He dummied back to Haddock on the runaround, and then he just took off, and he went into a gap, and then he came to the fullback, and the fullback, Michael Popji, could be forgiven for saying, where the hell did he get to?
Steve Morris has been an Achilles heel for Souths over a number of years. Here we can see he just fakes on a run around, found a hole, and if Morris gets into clear, there's no way you can catch him, and over he goes to score the first 4-pointer for the Dragons. Yeah,
he's a brilliant player, this fellow. And brilliant, I think, is the right word to use to describe Steve Morris. 10-8 now. And this will be 10-all with Guerin kicking. No worries. We're all level. South Sydney and St. George. 10 points all. That's the medicine that St. George needed. Final day. They're doing this with 12 men, and how? Big Graham Wynn. Back in first grade as a replacement. Steve Guerin just absolutely blinded them with his pace. And St. George lead by 14 to 10.
Guy started it all when he ran out of dummy half and was able to make the initial break. He found Jarvis inside. Jarvis released to Graham Wynn. And look at the strength of the man here as he pushes through 2 tackles. And then, like a good winger, Steve Guerin positioned himself on the inside, pins his ears back, and away goes Guerin. And look at this for a finishing winger. Over goes Guerin, and that's got Saints out of some real trouble.
Oh, and wasn't there some emotion that followed the try? The emotion was unbelievable. Guerin from right in front, and he takes St. George to a 16 points to 10 lead. They were trailing 10-4 2 minutes ago. Here's another replay for you. In the NEC big game, that's the camera down ground level near the dead ball line. And look at this. Whoopee, says Steve Guerin. And shades of English soccer and continental soccer as the embracing took place. And they frolicked around there. Let's come back to it live now. And Brian Johnson for St. George. And taken by Ackery and Biles. That's Fraser. Bomb, no, it's a shot for drop goal. There still could be a try come from it. There will be. No, he's offside. He's Will Morris offside. Have a look at Steve Morris. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Well, he was right on the 22 line when he took this shot for goal. And Morris, looking at that replay, I would say had to be in front of the kicker. 16-10. And St. George putting it all together in a passage of play that spanned no more than 3 minutes. Since Robert Stone got... Goodness gracious, they've had to pull out everything. O'Grady, Fraser!
Oh, they've got to kick a foul goal, St. George. That'll give them that extra 1 point cushion they need.
They're on the last tackle. Graham Wynn. Grub kicks ahead. He's been held. It'll be a penalty. It is. It's a penalty to the Saints. It had to be. Wynn kicked and then was held out of it. And it's a professional foul on the South Sydney player, David Boyle. David Boyle, 10 minutes in the bin. Wynn kicked and then Boyle held him. It had to be a penalty. And Wynn's been, replaced? Yes, Wynn replaced. And Boyle in the sin bin. Well, what a match it's been for not only that man, Graham Wynn. Graham Buckley's on for him. But this referee, McCallum, he had a job and a half today. 4 from 4 for the straight shooter. Successful. I'm not going to tell you that's the ball game because don't you believe it. Now it's 18-10 in favour of the Dragons. 5 metres into South territory. They'll probably kick here. Haddock's decided to push the ball. Beattie turns it. Gearan unable to clean it up. That's another turnover. And Coleman can't pick it up. It's still in play, and swept up by the Dragons. Players all over the field are down. Players all over the field. I can see 3 of them. The siren has sounded. The siren hasn't sounded. That's what I'm asking. The referee is asking his touch judges, is it time? The referee is asking, is it time? I'm sure. It sure better be. There are kids on there and there are police on there. But I'm looking at one of the St. George players, or more than one of them, scenes of great emotion. 4 or 5 St. George players out there hugging one another. Little Perry Haddock. And what a game of rugby league this has been. The score, 18-10 to St. George. Steve Morris and Steve Gearan, the tries. Steve Gearan, 5 goals. And South, Baker and Niscott, the tries. Baker, a goal. Manly yesterday defeating Penrith by 15-14. Illawarra defeating Cronulla 20.